Hey everybody, it is that time of year again. We are right around the corner from our semester exams, and so I wanted to share some information with you as it relates to semester exam exemptions. You'll be receiving in your boxes, those of you that have third period, an exemption form that looks like this. The students who will receive those are students who are in your classes that have not been placed in ISS, OSS, or placed at EPIC this semester. If there are any students that receive a form but are subsequently between now and semester exams assigned to one of those placements, then your APs will be communicating with you to let you know that those students will lose the opportunity to exempt your class. So even if you've granted it, but they get placed in ISS, for example, they would lose the exemptions for this semester. There's a few things I want you to make sure that you take a close look at. For one thing, in the very top box, you'll see here, if there is anything other than the word clear in this box, you'll need to make sure the students take care of their obligations before you sign off an exemption. That's the first thing that you look at. If it shows that they owe money, they need to get that cleared first. It will be stamped cleared and initialed by someone to indicate to you that they've taken care of that obligation. If they have not taken care of it, they're not eligible. Just a few things. Reminder is that students have to have between a 75 and an 89 with no more than 2 absences, or they can have a 90 or better with no more than 3 absences for the semester to be eligible for exemptions. So what you'll do is you'll record that on the form. It's pretty self-explanatory. The period that they're wanting to exempt, the course they're wanting to exempt. You will verify the number of absences as well as their semester average. It's not a 9-week average. It's actually a semester average. You figure out, as long as it is in that window, then you'll be able to grant that and you'll sign off on it. There's also a teacher record of exemption form that is in your box as well. There'll be a copy of that in the Google Classroom as well. You'll need to keep track of all of the students that you grant exemptions for, because you will need to go in and mark that semester exam as exempt once you have granted that exemption. You'll need to keep that record. What you'll do is on Tuesday by 4 o'clock, Tuesday the 17th by 4 o'clock, you'll turn in a copy of your exempted students form to the counseling office. Keep the original for yourself. Give us a copy. That way, if there's a discrepancy at some point about whether or not a student had actually exempted the course, we'll be able to have that form as a backup to verify for you. Every time I've done this, we've had someone that has forgotten, so it's really important that you keep a really good record. It's up to you how you do that. You may want to print one of those forms for every one of your classes and keep them separate. You may want to have one running total. It makes me no difference. Do what is best for you, but make sure that anytime you grant an exemption for a student that you document it on that form. Remind students that they have to turn these forms in to the assistant principal's office by 4 p.m. on Tuesday, December the 17th, so that we'll have that. The form is pretty easy to follow. If they have an available slot for every exemption that they're eligible for. So for example, in this example, this student is in 11th grade. At the top, it tells them how many exemptions that they're eligible for. There are only 4 boxes available to that student. They can't exempt all 8 because they're not a senior. It's pretty self-explanatory. This process should go pretty easily for you. What I would encourage you to do is this. If you know that you have a major exam or a major project that is coming due, you can wait until you have entered grades for that before you grant the exemption. It's a little harder to grant it on Tuesday and then the student not do so well in the exam and then fall under the threshold. Then you have to go pull that back away from a kid, because then they have to figure out which other class they're going to use that exemption for. So it's perfectly acceptable to say to your kids, hey, we're going to wait. I'm going to sign off on those on Monday or on Friday, and we'll wait and see how these grades are done before we finalize that. So this should be a pretty easy situation. It's very important though that we honor it, that we follow through to this accurately. So the attendance, you've got to check that. In the Google Classroom is the exemption flyer that will show you which codes count towards exemptions. If it's on that list, you don't count them. If it's not on that list, then you do, and every class period stands alone. So if they're trying to exempt your third period class, the only attendance that you're looking at is your third period attendance. It is important that you check this. Whenever you turn this in and you grant an exemption, you are verifying as a teacher that you have accurately checked student eligibility. So if we have situations to where students are being granted exemptions that are not eligible for it, that could come back on you. So make sure you're taking the time to check this for accuracy. I hope that you guys are ready for this. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the semester to come to a very successful end. Just another quick reminder, you have to have all of your grades done before we leave for the semester. So all the grades need to be entered and in Skyward before we leave. And that way, when students check their grades on December the 21st, on that Saturday, they'll be able to look and see whether or not they passed your class or not. Grades can go up from there, but they can't go down. Just another reminder, students who are absent, you put in a 4. That's a placeholder for their exams. They'll have a week. That week we come back from the Christmas break to get those grades made up. If a student is exempt from your class, but they do not show up for attendance reporting purposes that day, they lose the exemption for your class, and you'll need to go in and put a 4 in that place, because they have to be here and they have to check in for attendance in your class before they go over to the auditorium. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to let me know. We will have a faculty meeting on Wednesday, December the 11th. We will have a faculty meeting that day, and so I can answer questions there as well. I just wanted to get this video out to you ahead of time, because students will start receiving their forms on Tuesday morning. That's when they'll go out. And so I wanted to make sure that you were armed with information in case you get any questions. If you have any other questions, let me know. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Bye.